My sister's perfect life was a lie, and I was the one who exposed it. Hi, I'm Emily. I'm 28 years old, and I work as a freelance graphic designer. My life has always been pretty low-key compared to my sister's. Speaking of my sister, let me introduce you to Sarah. She's 32, a high-powered marketing executive, married to her seemingly perfect husband, Mark, and they have two adorable kids, Lily, 5, and Noah, 3. Sarah's life has always been the gold standard in our family, the kind of life our parents bragged about at every family gathering. But as I recently discovered, not everything that glitters is gold. Sarah and I have always been close. Growing up, she was my role model, confident, ambitious, and always in control. But over the past few years, something felt off. She'd become distant, always brushing off my calls with excuses like, work is crazy, or the kids are keeping me busy. At family dinners, she'd smile and laugh, but it never reached her eyes. I chalked it up to stress. After all, balancing a high-pressure job and a family couldn't be easy. But deep down, I knew there was more to it. It all started with little things, like the way she'd flinch when Mark made a joke, or how she'd avoid talking about her marriage altogether. Then there were the late-night texts she'd quickly dismiss as work stuff. I tried to ignore the red flags, but they kept piling up. One evening, during a family dinner at our parents' house, I noticed something strange. Sarah was helping Mom in the kitchen, and when Mark walked in, she froze. Her hands clenched around the knife she was using to chop vegetables, and for a moment, it looked like she was holding her breath. Mark made a casual comment about how she was always so clumsy, and she forced a laugh, but I saw the way her knuckles turned white. Later that night, I pulled her aside. Sarah, are you okay? You seem off. She avoided my gaze. I'm fine, just tired. You know you can talk to me, right? About anything? She hesitated, then shook her head. It's nothing, really, but the way she said it, like she was trying to convince herself more than me, made my stomach churn. The night everything changed, it was a Friday evening, and I was babysitting Lily and Noah while Sarah and Mark went out for a date night. The kids were asleep, and I was scrolling through Netflix, trying to find something to watch, when my phone buzzed. It was Sarah. Emily, I need you to do something for me, she said, her voice trembling. There's a folder in my office drawer. Can you take it and keep it safe? Don't let Mark see it. My heart raced as I hung up. What was in that folder? Why was she so scared? I found it tucked beneath a stack of papers, a plain manila envelope with no label. I didn't open it that night, but the weight of it in my hands felt like a ticking time bomb. The next morning, Sarah came over, her face pale and drawn. She sat me down and said, I need to tell you something, but you have to promise not to judge me. I nodded, my stomach in knots. What she revealed shattered everything I thought I knew about her life. The perfect marriage? A lie. The happy family? A carefully constructed facade. Sarah had been living a double life, and the folder contained evidence of something so dark, so devastating, that I could barely process it. Mark, he's not who you think he is, she began, her voice breaking. He's been controlling everything, my money, my phone, even who I can talk to. And then I found out, he's been stealing from his company. Millions, Emily. And he's been using my name to cover it up. I stared at her, my mind racing. What do you mean, using your name? She opened the folder and pulled out a stack of documents. These are bank statements, contracts, and emails. He's been funneling money into accounts under my name. If this gets out, I could go to prison. I felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. Sarah, why didn't you tell me sooner? I was scared, she whispered. He threatened to take the kids if I ever said anything. And I didn't know who to trust. Confronting Mark was one of the hardest things I've ever done. The look on his face when Sarah and I showed him the evidence, it's burned into my memory. You think you can just ruin me? He snarled, his voice cold and venomous. You have no idea what you're dealing with. Sarah stood her ground, though her hands were shaking. I'm done living in fear, Mark. I'm done letting you control me. The argument escalated, and for a moment, I thought he might hit her. But instead, he stormed out, slamming the door so hard the walls shook. The days that followed were a blur. Sarah filed for divorce and reported Mark's crimes to the authorities. But the fallout was brutal. Mark retaliated by spreading lies about her, claiming she was the one who had orchestrated the fraud. The media picked up the story, and suddenly, Sarah's picture was everywhere, accompanied by headlines like, "Marketing executive accused of embezzlement." Just when we thought things couldn't get worse, a bombshell dropped. During the trial, Mark's lawyer called a surprise witness, Sarah's former assistant, Claire. Claire took the stand, her hands shaking as she swore to tell the truth. "Sarah asked me to help her forge documents," she said, avoiding Sarah's gaze. "She said it was for a client, but now I realize she was using me to cover up her crimes." Sarah gasped. "That's a lie. I never asked her to do that." But the damage was done. The jury looked skeptical, and even Sarah's lawyer seemed shaken. That night, Sarah broke down. "I don't know why she's doing this," she sobbed. "I trusted her. I held her as she cried, but a nagging doubt crept into my mind. What if there was more to this story?" I decided to dig deeper. I reached out to Claire, who reluctantly agreed to meet me at a coffee shop. "Why are you doing this?" I asked her. "Sarah trusted you. Why are you lying?" Claire hesitated, then burst into tears. "He threatened me," she admitted. "Mark said he'd ruin my career if I didn't testify against Sarah." I didn't have a choice. I felt a surge of anger. "You could have come to us. We could have protected you." "You don't understand," Claire whispered. "He's not just a liar. He's dangerous." As the trial continued, another secret came to light, one that even I didn't know about. During a particularly grueling cross-examination, Mark's lawyer dropped a bombshell. "Mrs. Carter, isn't it true that you were involved in a previous embezzlement case at your former company?" Sarah froze. That was a misunderstanding. I was cleared of all charges, but the damage was done. The jury's faces darkened, and even I felt a pang of doubt. After the hearing, I confronted Sarah. "Why didn't you tell me about this?" She looked away, tears streaming down her face. I was ashamed. It was years ago, and I thought it was behind me. I didn't think it would come back to haunt me. I didn't know what to say. Part of me felt betrayed, but another part understood why she'd kept it hidden. The trial dragged on for months, but in the end, the truth prevailed. Claire recanted her testimony, admitting that Mark had coerced her into lying. The evidence against Mark was overwhelming, and he was found guilty on multiple counts of fraud and coercion. Sarah was cleared of all charges, but the emotional toll was immense. She lost her job, her reputation was tarnished, and the kids were traumatized. But slowly, things started to get better. Sarah began therapy, and the kids started to heal. She even reconnected with an old friend from college, who helped her start a nonprofit to support victims of financial abuse. What would you have done? Reddit, I need your honest opinion. Was I right to help Sarah expose the truth, even if it meant destroying the image of her perfect life? Or should I have stayed out of it and let her handle things on her own? I can't shake the feeling that I might have made things worse. This experience has taught me that no one's life is as perfect as it seems. We all have our struggles, our secrets, and our battles. But it's also shown me the importance of family, honesty, and having the courage to face the truth, no matter how painful it may be. If you've made it this far, thank you for reading. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What would you have done in my shoes? Do you think I made the right call, or should I have stayed out of it? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to hear more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. Trust me, there's plenty more where this came from. My sister's perfect life was a lie, and I was the one who helped her expose the truth. But now I'm left wondering if I did the right thing. What would you have done? Don't forget to subscribe for more stories. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for reading. This journey has been incredibly personal and emotional for me, and sharing it with all of you has been both cathartic and nerve-wracking. Your support and feedback mean the world to me. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more like it, whether it's about family drama, personal struggles, or unexpected twists, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. Your support helps me keep sharing these stories and connecting with all of you. And hey, if you have a story of your own that you'd like to share, or if you've been through something similar, feel free to drop a comment below. Let's create a community where we can all learn from each other's experiences. Thanks again for being here, and I can't wait to share more with you soon. Until next time, take care and remember, no one's life is as perfect as it seems.